What? Oh, you come crawling back, huh?
Me. I've been here the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
Who are you? Who are you?
Yeah, who am I? You know,
Where
that's
are you
a good
been?
question for most of the fucking audience.
I've been neglecting you for so long, and you haven't been anywhere near around to see it.
Why you run? I just hit you once in a while. Shit. Anyways, back on the scene. The original other Super Stopgap member. We had a comment the other day. I don't know if you saw it. It was on the Blair Witch, the commentary video you did with Wes Robinson and Brandon. Yeah. The comment was like, okay, honest question here. How did you get this audio? Are you one of the actors?
That's really funny.
I know, and I like commented back. I was like, yeah, James L. McEwen like co-runs the channel, and they're like, oh shit, I'm gonna sub then. I was like, well, great. I'm glad it's not for the fucking quality of our content. It's, that actor guy.
It's a little backhanded. Well, I mean, you know, that's great though. Welcome aboard. But also, it's just like, I wish that you liked what we were doing.
I know. It was just kind of like, oh, cool. He's famous. Nice. I'll follow.
I mean, hardly. Yeah. That's such a weird thing because I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't know if I want to like ride that train much longer as far as like referencing it and shit. I mean, like, no, we're cool to talk about it, but like, whenever people my fucking mouth. Whenever people are like, you're the guy from Blair Witch or whatever, it's kind of like, I've done a lot of shit in my life. That was one of the things.
Blair Witch was among the worst.
Yeah, didn't do, not a happy memory at points.
Man, but you had some rough times on the set of Blair Witch, as I recall.
It's weird, dude. Like because it was overwhelmingly positive, like as a experience, like to make the movie. Like that was really great, and I made a lot of cool friends and did some really dope shit. Yeah, and it helped me pay for a lot of stuff. But the like aftermath was some of the hardest shit in my life. So it's super weird. Because I can't.
You had like a big. We don't have to talk about it, but as I recall, you had a pretty big breakdown.
Oh,
right
totally.
Towards the end, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm cool to talk about it. It's weird, and I guess I have thin skin, but that was my first experience being on something that wasn't like, it wasn't received positively by the general public. Because before that, I was a part of pretty successful shows that even if the episodes weren't very good, people were still pretty overwhelmingly.
Could you maybe name some of those? What are those highly rated shows you were on? Huh?
I mean, I can't remember all the names.
Yeah, I mean, you're so busy. You can't.
just doing so much
just
every day.
Working all the time. Like, how am I going to keep up with all that shit?
Oh gosh, but there was a really weird. It was just weird to be the face of a thing in a lot of ways, and then for everyone to drive home their like overwhelmingly negative opinions towards me, or like they were like shitting on my friends in public, and it was like a worldwide thing. So I had like a good month of people just like suddenly bombarding all of us with stuff, and it was the Hollywood experience that you see in movies and shit, where there's like producers like, you're gonna be a star, you're gonna be in pictures everywhere, and we're gonna put your name on lights and shit. And it was
your
like
face up on the big board on Sunset.
Yeah, and I was like, inherently I don't feel like that's gonna happen, but that's still really exciting to hear somebody believe in me like that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you get all caught up in the whirlwind, like, oh shit, I'm gonna be a movie star, you know?
Yeah, it's like I got a little bit of cash, and there's a door that's going to lead to something really exciting very soon. And then the movie came out, and I realized all the fun stuff was that time period before the movie came out. and I was like, oh fuck, like this doesn't help me. And it's a really weird experience because it's not something that I can really talk about negatively to a lot of people, because they're like, well, you were a fucking movie, what do you got to complain about? Mm-hmm. But it was just a weird thing. Like I never knew how to respond to it, and it screwed me up because I wasn't sure how to feel, because I couldn't talk shit about the stuff I was doing, because it was like, despite it being hard, because it was like the social thing of,
oh yeah, of course. They're like, oh well, my fucking job, I get up and break bricks for 12 fucking hours.
Right? Yeah, it's like you don't deserve to be upset, but then it's also like very disturbing. So I had like no one to relate to during that time period.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't know. If you've watched our earlier Let's Plays, Jamie is horrified of anything related to horror. You're probably the most easily spooked man I've ever met in my life. So for you to go through like that traumatic shit that the Blair Witch put you through, I remember you came home to Georgia after like shooting wrapped in Canada, and then it was just like, I think like 2 months. You were here for a long time. Yeah. Just like kind of regathering yourself after that, because you were like running around in the woods, and it was like cold and dark, and you'd see like it wasn't the Blair Witch, whatever that thing was in the movie, just out in shadows and stuff like that, and just the mental idea of being in that situation.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, I appreciate you acknowledging that. It was a very it was super strange because and I feel kind of like pretentious being like, this movie screwed me up, but like. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You put somebody in the woods and they're like, okay, now feel shitty. Okay, yeah. feel shitty. And that's like the whole for 2 months straight. It was like working like 14-hour days every single day, and then like the last month was entire night shoots, and we were in the rain and like physically exhausting ourselves every single day.
Yeah, and you weren't even in the rain; they were spraying you with water, right?
Yeah, it was freezing fucking cold, and it was like we have to try and think of all of the worst things we possibly can in order to get to the point
character.
Yeah, and that sounds kind of cheesy, but it's like we had to feel shitty and look shitty and stuff, and so you're just kind of mentally torturing yourself for the sake of the movie the entire time, right. And I'm not like a big method actor or whatever, but you kind of can't just leave set and everything's fine right after.
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
and there was an entire year following where I had just nightmares every single night, like night terrors. Like when me and Mimi came, Mimi, I would wake Mimi up in the middle of the night screaming and crying and shit, and I would have like hallucinations in the middle of the night. And it was just, I don't know, and I don't think it was like the content of like the monster movie aspect, but it was more about the like, just keeping yourself exhausted and scared and tired and underfed because I was trying to look really thin by the end of the movie, so I was like not eating enough by the end of the shoot.
Right.
It was like that. All those things combined to really make you feel like shit the entire way through.
Yeah, that'll happen. That's like a starter's kit for killing yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I've got night terrors and I'm not eating. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, and it was like it was probably longer than a year that I had just like every single night was like I couldn't sleep because I was having nightmares and shit, and I was not okay after that whole thing.
Yeah, you had the same experience with The Walking Dead too, didn't you? Well, your finale with that really fucked you up for a while.
Yeah, but it wasn't this bad, but it was probably like a month following where I couldn't stop dreaming about being eaten. So it was like that's one of my biggest fears is like being ripped apart
Fetishes.
While alive. Right. But it was I just remember being like, why the fuck am I like upset all the time and not sleeping and shit? It's not real. But like I don't know. I guess I'm just not good enough as an actor to be able to just wipe that shit off afterwards. I don't know, because I don't know how people stand being around like Daniel Day-Lewis when he's doing all that
what?
shit.
Oh, okay. I thought you were implying that Daniel Day-Lewis was horrifying enough to give people night terrors. I was like, well, damn, all right. Gloves are off on the podcast.
Yeah, fuck you, Lincoln. But no, like him constantly having to like force his brain to not leave that whatever space he's getting in, because he doesn't always play like the happiest characters ever. So like,
right.
I don't know how his family, and it's just, I don't know. Have you seen that documentary about Jim Carrey when he did
Andy Kaufman?
Yeah, have you seen that shit?
I think I saw it a while. It's been a long time.
If you haven't, it's called Jim and Andy. Go watch it. It is the most. And I've talked to a few people who've been like, "Oh, he was such a visionary, such an artist. He was in character, even offset and stuff." You watch that, it's basically Jim Carrey being a fucking asshole all the time.
Great, cool.
And it's like that. I would never work with him ever again if I were on that set. Like that.
Didn't he get like pile drive? Didn't he? What's the past tense of pile drive?
Pile
drove?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a question people often ask.
It's one that comes up all the time in my fortune cookies. Every time I open one, seems like it's
so what's the past tense?
Hey, Vsauce, what's
Well, to find that question, what is pile drive?
I'll add in that background music.
Yeah. It's not necessary. Like Jim Carrey, I did not see him as Andy Kaufman. I saw him as a fucking asshole trying to convince everybody that he was the most
dedicated actor of all time or something.
Yeah, it was like, you don't need to do that. It almost sucks that the movie was really good because it validated all of that shitty behavior.
Right.
And that's what it is at the end of the day. And he's, Jim Carrey is a very talented man and has done some really great stuff to his credit, but like that is not the way to handle yourself in any situation, especially on a movie set. Like that is so disrespectful.
Yeah, generally any situation where somebody describes you as just a fucking unwavering asshole for 6 months, like probably do try to avoid. Have you heard Jim Carrey lately? I saw him on the Norm Macdonald podcast, and it seems like he's lost a few of his marbles. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that because you can see it in the documentary where he, like, all of his validation and self-worth comes from the opinion of the masses and shit. And he even talks very openly about, like, that's what makes his life worthwhile.
Wow.
And then he had, didn't his wife kill herself or something? Didn't she kill herself or something?
She committed suicide
right.
at some point, yeah.
So it's like, I don't know how you're married to someone who kills himself and you don't blame yourself just naturally, like, regardless of, I don't know, like, even if it was very obviously not your fault, it would be hard not to feel like, well, I'm supposed to be the closest person to her, like
I could have done more, blah blah whatever.
But also he's just kind of in the public eye less, and I think that he's just not sure how to be who he is without playing a character or, like, entertaining or something. So
he has trouble, like, contextualizing himself without external validation, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like, celebrities are basically just it's worshiping mental illness and feeding all of the worst aspects of it. A lot of the time, actors they act because their personal life is broken and they're trying to find some way to escape it.
Do you need to talk?
But like every actor I have met,
I'm not hearing a no.
No, don't worry.
Still not hearing a...
You'll be blaming yourself soon.
Yeah, great, cool. I could have done less. Shit, I tried too hard.
I shouldn't have cared so much.
Yeah,
I hate that guy.
I tipped him right over the edge.
Thank God.
Thank God, yeah, his burden. He's out of my hair.
But it's every actor, even especially successful actors that I've met, they're and that's not a universal truth, because, like, a bunch of people, especially like on The Walking Dead, those were pretty well-rounded. That's a rare set when I was on, anyway. I don't know how the newer cast is, but like Andy Lincoln was the most well-rounded dude. He was super fucking cool. He's pretty method, but he's not an asshole about it by any stretch. Mm-hmm. He's like, it's like he has his life outside of that shit. Like, you don't see him. He had an agreement where he didn't want his face on a lot of the ads until like season 4 or something, because he wanted to make sure that he could still have a life at home with his family. It's like, that dude's got it figured out. And I feel like most actors I've met have not been that way. Like, they're all just kind of looking for something, and they're being validated by weird shit like attention and money, which isn't actually, like, substantial, I think, for being happy.
I'd imagine that there's probably a higher subset of actors who are displaying some manner of narcissism than the average person, just because, like, practically your entire career is based on validation of, like, how great you are, how talented you are, stuff like that.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I mean, yeah, the fact that anyone, especially children, like, every child actor I've worked with, I have been concerned for, except for people who are on, like, Chandler and Madison are super fucking cool. Like, they had no problems. They had no problems growing up in the public eye, and they're both doing great shit, and they're, like, some of the most well-rounded people I know. But, like, there's something about being, like, growing up on set that just makes you, it's like a perfect storm for being a shitty person growing up.
Right. Well, you were talking about, like, I think we talked about this in a podcast or Let's Play or something, but like the on-set experience when you're the talent, where you have somebody bringing you, like, here's an umbrella. Do you want me to go to Starbucks and get you coffee? Like, I can get you anything you want. I'd imagine that, if you're, 10 or 11 or 12 when that's happening, that just kind of sets in your head as normal.
Right. Well, it's like, I deserve this. Like, they're doing this because they like me, and but the reality is that it's just cheaper to keep you in one space so that you're always ready to go and sit. So if you're, like, going to Starbucks for a coffee, that's, like, costing everyone money. That's the reality of it, why you're weighted on hand and foot. It's because you're saving money in the long run by not taking you away from set. Mm. So it's like that, but that unfortunately feeds your weird ego when you're, it's such a fragile thing. Like, working with actors, there's this, like, you have to keep them in a good mood at all times, because if you have one pissed off actor, the entire set falls apart. Oh yeah,
and I'm sure it's hard too. Like, as an actor, you have to hit certain moods and stuff like that, and if your baseline mood is interfering with it, I'm sure it would kind of dilute the whole experience.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Like, we were doing The Woods, which was the
the Sugar Pine one,
the Sugar Pine movie, and and that was probably the worst shoot I've ever been on, as far as, like, how hard it was. Like that we shot over 30 pages.
Oh yeah. You guys like fucking bull rushed through that. I remember that.
It was nonstop. We got maybe an hour of sleep every night. You know, we're doing like 23-hour days for 3 days, 3.5 days straight. That's the most brutal fucking thing I've ever seen. And like, I know in my experience of seeing people totally fucking lose it on set and costing a lot of cash, it's like these guys who have never acted before, or, you know, haven't had a lot of experience doing it.
Film acting, yeah.
Yeah, they don't know the proper etiquette just by nature of not being there. So
right.
I'm panicking the entire time, and so I'm Mr. Positivity the entire time I'm there. Like I'm kind of glad I didn't get to perform in it because it gave me the chance to I was basically the dad of set. And there was a moment where I was at the store. I was a runner for like 4 hours one day, and I was like, okay, what do the boys need? And the boys were like, I could use a Red Bull, but whatever. And I was like, I'm getting them as many Red Bulls as I can. Because if they think they need a Red Bull, they will need a Red Bull if they don't have a Red Bull.
Yeah, it starts as like a joke and then it becomes reality. Like, well, I thought you were going to give me the Red Bull. Yeah.
It's not a problem unless there isn't one. So it's
better to have it, not need it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just takes like one shitty attitude to completely dislodge the dynamic on set. It's fucking crazy. So like, yeah, working with actors is pretty sensitive because they need their validation while also, you know, you have to correct them and stuff when they're working. So it's like, hey, that was really shitty, so do it better. But also you're really pretty and it looked really good and I can see potential. Right. And it's like I'm now catching stuff that I've heard being said by like my friends to other people and stuff. I'm like seeing stuff that people have told me on set. Or like, that was really great. We can totally use that. But let's try one where
I was watching something what was it? I was watching something the other day. Something to do with voice acting. I don't remember. But it was some guy just did like a horrible take, and the guy was like, "That was great. Let's try one just a little bit faster." And you could tell he was just kind of like slowly trying to nudge him in the right direction, you know, without bruising his ego.
You have to find ways of getting people to do shit, and sometimes you can't say exactly what you want. Like you have to kind of manipulate actors into doing stuff. Like I'll and it's funny because I'm seeing it in a really small way. I don't have a lot of like directing experience, but just in dealing with actors and doing like filming auditions at home with Mimi and with a few of my friends and stuff, I'm seeing that it takes one kind of strange sounding direction to throw them off the entire night.
Yeah.
You know, if you're like, I don't like the way you said this word, and you try blah blah blah. Yeah, that's you fucked it. You fucked it. The entire night is gonna all be their mind spinning about like, they didn't like it. They didn't like me. They don't like me. Yeah, and that's what it is. Because it's like personal. It's like, you know, there's nothing more personal than being yourself on camera. It's like, how do you not feel like the failure is
judgment call? Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's perfectly justifiable why people get fucked up in this industry, because it's like your successes are feeding this like really minor, what should be a really minor part of your brain that shouldn't validate you as a person, and your
failures are tanking your ego.
Right, it's destroying who you are as a person and your validity as a human. You know, especially if all you've gotten validity for is being on camera or whatever. It's like when you fuck up, it's like, well, who am I then?
Right, I'm just a shallow husk of a person living in sunny California.
It's not like I just made a shitty pot. It's like I'm a shitty pot maker.
Yeah, sure. You fuck one horse.
But yeah, and being in the arts in general, I think, is just like a really weird place for humans, because it's just not. I don't know, but like I feel like that's also people struggle with that shit in every other job too. It's just like the jobs don't often feed that side of stuff when they're good. It's like, right. I mean, every job could be personal like that.
I feel like with a lot of jobs, you don't quite have the emotional connection that like an artist would have, or that an actor would have, anybody involved in any sort of fine art. You know, like an accountant's not like, I did a fucking great job on those books, you know, and I really poured my heart and soul into it. And then somebody's like, you did a shitty job. And they're like, devastated. You know?
You're right.
You're just kind of like, fuck, I fucked up. But then that's it, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I don't, Yeah, I don't know. And I don't mean to be like, oh, boohoo, pretending for a living
Yeah.
and shit. But it is like it's a weird position, especially with like the weirdest thing for me was when the movie did poorly, like the minute it came out and all those reviews came flooding in and shit. It was not only like, oh, I suck, but it was like, oh, I think my career's over. There was like a moment of like, I don't know if I'll ever work again, and I haven't since, except for I got that game coming out, which is really cool. But
yeah.
But that was like, I kind of had this feeling of like my future doesn't look bright as an actor.
It's just like a sinking feeling. Well, it sucks because it's like, you went from it was really like the story of Icarus, like they really they dragged your ass right up there next to the sun, and then the movie came out and somebody flipped the sun on, and then those wings, they just melted right out from fucking underneath you.
It's true, and it's like, again, that's like a really fucking cool experience, and I have no reason to complain because it's like, that's super cool. But like, there was a weird thing of, I didn't realize how big of a deal it was in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But like now I'm like, fuck, I wish I could go back and reshoot that knowing what I know, because that was not.
I feel like the problem wasn't the performance or even the movie itself, Like, I feel like the entire problem people had with it was it came out right in the middle of a bunch of soft reboots. I think we've talked about this before, but if they had released it as The Woods and then halfway through you find out that it's a Blair Witch movie, I feel like it would have done much better than being like, blah, the new Blair Witch.
Yeah.
That's like, and they're like, scariest fucking movie you've ever seen coming this Halloween. It came out right around the time that like the new Star Wars came out, and then I think Ghostbusters had come out right before that too, and that did awful. So people were just like, God, another fucking reboot, And on like such a cult classic as Blair Witch Project, which had fantastic reviews, and the entire thing was about, like the reality kind of kick of it. So to do like a really Hollywood remake and market it as such, I think was just asking for trouble. It wasn't like your performance and everybody's performance was great. I don't think anybody had a problem with like the acting, but it was just the marketing kind of dropped the ball on that one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it really opened my eyes to how little it takes to completely destroy something. You know what I mean? Like there's some good shit out there, but because of some like weird marketing decisions, it just goes either completely unnoticed or it tanks because of the like reviews and stuff. And it's like, because of the way Rotten Tomatoes works, if within that first 2 weeks enough people see what those early adopters voted on, they'll just not bother to see it. So if you get a bad review within the first week, you're kind of fucked for the rest of the run.
Jesus Christ.
It takes nothing.
Do you have any idea on how it's done on like DVDs and Netflix? I don't know. I mean, you probably don't handle the numbers, but I'm just saying.
Like how Blair Witch is sold?
Yeah.
Not as well as we thought. Well, it's funny because as an actor, you get residuals for when your projects, if that's in your contract to do.
Right.
And that usually takes higher profile stuff to get returns on it, but you can get residuals for, especially TV, and movies playing on TV and how they get downloaded off of stuff like Amazon and stuff. You get a little percentage of all that stuff, and you can kind of tell how well something is doing based off of what your kickback is. Yeah, and it's like there was maybe like 2 like, hey, cool checks in the last year. But all of us were like, I don't want to discredit because I need the money, but like it's not as much as I thought it would be.
Damn.
It's interesting to see, because you it's like a tangible way to quantify how it's being received.
Right.
And it was like, it's funny because stuff like The Walking Dead, being on that for 1 season, that's kept me afloat since that show.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's like, man, crazy. That show's doing really well. Whereas you see, like when I was on State of Affairs, which nobody knows that show, it's like that. I maybe made like $5 from that in the last year and a half.
Look at that.
So you can it's a quick and dirty way to measure how well a thing is doing. And it's like, Blair Witch was like fine, but it wasn't what everyone said it would be. Yeah.
I honestly figured it would have gone up because, like a lot of people wouldn't have been interested in seeing it in the theaters, but then they're at their house and it's on Netflix and they're like, oh yeah, that did come out. Let's check it out.
I think the writer Simon, he had a hypothesis, which is something that's happened to all of his movies apparently. He was like, look, they're going to hate it right now. They're going to say it's the worst thing that's ever come out while it's in theaters. It's going to spend maybe 2 or 3 years being completely ignored, and then it's going to come out that it was one of the best movies of all time. Everyone's going to start talking about how great it was and how they loved it. And it's like there's this weird clout that goes over something that was ignored, where everyone is trying to be contrary to the fact that everyone hated it. And they're like, the detractors are like, it's not that bad. And then that rolls into, it's actually a great movie.
Yeah, and, I actually saw a movie, funny you said that, or I saw a video about that exact thing, but it was for the Blair Witch 2.
Oh,
yeah, about how it was like a deconstructive take on the first Blair Witch, and they ruined it in editing. But they were like, "Yeah, if you watch the director's cut, it's actually really good." I was like, "Wow, if that one can do it, anyone can do it."
Oh, dude, I sent that to Simon, and I saw that video.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and I sent that to Simon, and I was like, "What you think?" And he's like, "We gotta get breakfast." And we like hung out, and he was like, "There is no world in which that movie could have been a good movie." you like because we weren't allowed to talk about it. We couldn't we couldn't even mention Blair Witch 2 when we were doing press. It was like top of the list of things that we were not allowed to talk about.
Gotcha.
And I'm at the point now where I think they're not paying enough attention to me to really give a shit at this point. I think my contract's like past it. Whatever, fuck it.
Okay.
But everybody was like, yeah, this is. I mean, have you seen it?
Blair Witch 2?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen the actual movie.
It's objectively the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, I heard that it wasn't very good.
Not good. It's really bad. And I'm sure they're good people who made it. Of course. Nobody goes into a movie to make a bad movie. They probably worked really hard on it. But it's a bad movie. It's like the acting is really funny. It's the plot makes no sense, even in relevance to like a scary monster movie. I mean, there's nothing salvageable about it. There's not one good thing about that movie.
Wow.
And it sucks that people were like, hey, it's not so bad. At the same time, they were like, this is the worst movie ever made with our movie. It was like, dude, no. Like, this is like The Room, except not fun to watch.
Well, maybe in 15 years when they reboot Blair Witch 2, Return to Camp Crystal Lake, you'll see a YouTube review on how the Blair Witch from 2016 is actually pretty good.
Yeah, oh yeah. There's always
getting, big residual checks.
I mean, who knows? I mean, you always see shit like that. Like something will be a meme from that movie, like all of a sudden, and then it'll start to like turn into a big DVD success or Blu-ray success or something like that.
Speaking of memes, how do you feel? Like, how does it feel being a meme? Because you are two separate memes, I believe. Number one, you're stage right of Gus Johnson in that one meme where he's watching all the Instagram, Snapchat things.
Yeah.
And then the second one is every time you're in fucking anything, even in our own videos, they'll be like, "Oh, is that famous actor Jay?" Like, yes, motherfucker, he's in every video.
Yeah,
it's still him. Like, who else would it be?
Oh my god, it's fucking hilarious. Like, I think it was fucking me up a little bit last year because like the whole we talked about this, but it was like it was so tongue in cheek. The idea of me being like a famous actor was so. It was a joke. I was like, fuck. But like now I'm kind of happy about it because whenever I'm a part of anything, those are always the main comments. I fucking love that.
Right.
It's super funny. I
don't have a problem with the meme. It's just funny that you see it every I guess it's not the same people every time. But it's just like every time we'll get like the little bell notifications on the STOPGAP channel, and it'll be like 10 new comments, and guaranteed fucking 8 of them are gonna be about how famous actor James Allen McCune is in something.
And then the other two, one of them says, "You suck." The last one is, "Oh, hey, this is kind of neat." My mom did that shit after the like second Sugar Pine video came out where that happened. I like called her and she picked up and she said, "Is that world famous actor?"
Oh my god.
I don't know. I kind of love it now. I was a little weird about it at first, but I don't know. It's cool. I mean, how many people get to be a meme?
Honestly, yeah.
And it not be like, oh, somebody saw his balls on YouTube, and so that's the joke. You know, like that trampoline dude who's like pants falls
off? Oh my god,
off?
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. The guy
I fucking love that video.
The gym shorts.
Yeah, it's like, what if that dude just gets into like woodworking or something, and all he's ever known for is that's the guy who threw his gooch up on YouTube.
You fuck one horse. Worse than that one, I think, is the guy who he's trying to skimboard. And he like throws the skimboard into the ocean, and he's wearing like Timberland boots and like really loose carpenter jeans, and the skimboard sticks in the sand, and he scorpions into the ocean.
Ooh!
in scorpioning into the ocean, his pants come completely down, and he's got no underwear on, so it's just his pale, bare ass. And the worst part is I just think about, like, the shameful walk back to the hotel. Because obviously you don't fucking live here. So the shameful walk back to the hotel, and then that long ride at the elevator with salt water in your fucking ears and sand in your ass.
Oh my god.
Like, oh my god, man.
What happened to you? Oh, it'll be on 9gag tomorrow.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, it'll be on fucking 11 Alive.
Yeah.
3 days.
So you're the guy who put both his butt cheeks online.
That's me.
Yeah, of all the things that I could be known for, out of all the things that I've done, that's really not the worst thing.
The famous actor James Allen McCune bit is pretty funny. It's just funny seeing it. It's funny seeing it in places that I wouldn't expect to see it. Like sometimes it's like you'll go back on videos that you made like a long time ago on your channel. Mm-hmm. And they'll find those and comment on them. Like, that was before you were even the meme, you know? Like,
well, what's crazy is on my Instagram, I'll get, I'll have, like, a swath of, like, people who are coming in and liking all the new shit and stuff when I post a new picture. But then, inevitably, there'll be, like, 10 that will go back to, like, my first picture ever.
Yeah.
And, or, like, somewhere years ago, but not, like, all the way back, and they'll be, like, commenting and liking shit back there, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you going through all of my shit?
Yeah, what the hell?
It's, like, flattering, but it's, like, that's strange to think about somebody's, like, rooting through my pictures at all times. Like, that's the weird thing about being online, I guess, is, like, at some point, somebody's making a comment about it.
Yeah, it is a little weird. I know I got followed by some guy on Instagram the other day, and he followed you and Torres, so I guess maybe he followed one of the links in our videos.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird. It's like the first time it's ever happened. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And then it's like, oh, okay.
I'm kind of happy with the memes. I don't mind it. I'm just glad that it's not like we have a friend whose family member was recently accused of something pretty heinous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like really dark shit. But like you Google him now, and that's all that comes up, and it's like that. Mm-hmm. That's him until he dies. Somebody Googles him, and there'll be a news article about like, here's this and even if he didn't do it, like even if he is, I don't know what circumstance would have. I saw
him.
Yeah, I saw our friend kind of like, this isn't true and stuff, and I was thinking about it like, well, if that's the case, if it's not true, then like it doesn't really matter in the public forum.
Yeah, the court of the public opinion is already, that shit's crazy, dude.
Yeah, you're kind of screwed.
I really think we should go towards like the German method of report. I think it's Germany. It might be the UK, somewhere in the EU, where they don't. If somebody's accused, they don't release their name until a verdict is handed down. Like, so if they're innocent, nobody ever knows their name. If they're guilty, then they release it, and at that point, who fucking cares? Well, sorry to steer this train in a little bit of a different direction, but before we started and got way, way off track, you were talking about edamames. That's why we started recording.
I had an interesting experience. So I have been...
Hang on, before we get started, I just wanted to say the way we decided to start recording, because the way Jamie opened this is the way that he opens every extensively long story with a lot of twists and turns. So
pack up, Frodo. We're going on an adventure.
21 years of being friends with him, I know exactly when the story is gonna get fucking nuts. So I was like, well, let's go ahead and start recording.
I don't know if this one's going to be as exciting
fucking nuts. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put the chips on black on this one.
You hold your balls, because we're gonna start flying. Here it comes.
Tell me the most mind-blowing edamame story I've ever heard.
So I've been eating edamame.
Shit!
Oh! I have a habit of just finding a food that works and has a lot of nutritional value and is tasty, and I will eat that shit to death until I have died or it's just become so disgusting I can't even look at it anymore. Right. And so I found...
Wait a minute. How often have you died from this?
We'll find out.
You die one time.
One time, everyone thinks you're dead.
That's really the only one that's true. I guess horsefucker is true as well, but
that's probably, you can't really bounce back from that.
Anyway, sorry, go on.
But I had at the beginning of this year discovered edamame, like baked edamame or whatever, and you can get them. And the most exciting thing about them was that they're not in every store, and if they're in a store, they're never in the same place twice. They could be anywhere. They could be in the Asian section, they could be in the chip section, they could be in the cracker section, they could be in the nut section.
Game.
Yeah, you never know where it's gonna be. And it's always this red bag that's like labeled sea salt, and it's the wasabi flavor. And I don't know why anyone would do the wasabi flavor, because it's basically like putting a hot, like a lit fire. What is it called? Fucking
firecracker.
A firecracker. That's what it was. I was thinking like
go.
cherry bomb. You put that shit between your nostrils, and that's what it feels like. And it's like, it's fucking painful. But
I like wasabi.
This is the most. You might as well be snorting the wasabi. It's so fucking intense.
Yeesh.
I'm not into it. But they have. It's super fucking good. It's a great little fucking snack, and it's got tons of fiber, crazy amount of protein. And it's like the perfect food. And I just went hog on it since like Christmas. I was like, I'm just gonna get a whole bunch of this shit when we moved into our new place. And I got from Amazon just really an embarrassing amount of edamame. It's just like it's in a clear plastic tub. And then I got a whole bunch of and I got a whole bunch of individual packets of like a separate kind that you can't get in most stores and shit. It's like kind of like the sweeter kind or whatever.
Wow, you really did go all in.
It was a mistake. Because as it turns out, another name for edamame is soybeans. And what happens when a man eats too much soy is that he becomes dosed with extra estrogen.
Oh, have you developed... Okay, hang on. Where is the story about to go?
My titties got big.
Really?
I got big boobs, and I was like, what the fuck?
Wow, are you kidding me? Seriously?
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not doing too many push-ups. Why do I look so voluptuous? And I've been like really emotional lately, but I've been like trying new like medicines and stuff. So I'm like, well, maybe that's what's going on. And then like,
wow.
But like the other day, like a couple weeks ago, I was like, why the fuck is everything so exhausting? Why am I so frustrated with the way the birds chirp? And you know what I mean? Like,
wow.
I'll cry in commercials and stuff.
That's funny you said that, because this reminds me of my buddy Nick. He had a roommate named Josh. And Josh was on some sort of, I feel like he had like fibromyalgia or something, which I thought was just a women's disease. That sounds like I'm like derogatorily saying it. Oh, women's disease.
That's a woman's disease.
Yeah, but I thought it mostly affected women. But he said that he knew something was wrong when he started crying at I think it was like an allergy commercial.
Yeah.
He was like, the lady just loved her fucking cat so much, but she couldn't hold him. He just started crying. He's like, I gotta go to the doctor. Something is wrong.
That's kind of what happened to me, because there was some commercial that was I mean, it was just one of those like pandering commercials, and I knew that. I was watching it. I was like, this is some fucking bullshit. Where you're getting people of every ethnicity, in every age, all holding hands and like hugging each other and shit. But I was just a fucking fountain it was just like, everybody's getting together and loving each other. There's hope for the world. Everything's okay. Why don't I have that kind of optimism?
I shouldn't be feeling hope. Something's gone horribly awry.
Right, yeah. And so I was like, what? I was talking to my dad about it, and I was like, I've been loving these edamame. They're so good. And he was like, yeah, soybeans. And I was like, no, edamame. He was like, yes, edamame is a soybean. That's what that is. They renamed it later in life. And I was like,
after they retired, it's on the downslope.
They're once they get into their elderly years.
Their golden years. Their edamames.
There's the well-fed edamames. But they I was like, soy. I've heard about problems with soy, and like if guys eat too much soy or something like that. And I looked it up, and it's like, I've been a vegetarian this year, so I've not only been eating a ton of edamame, but I have been eating a lot of fucking a lot of shit made out of soy. Like there's
tofu
and oh my god, everything's made out of soy. It's like most of my protein. And it's I was looking at all of the symptoms of being like all hopped up on estrogen, and it was unfucking believable. I'm like, oh well, this explains literally everything that's happened.
This is just like when you found out you had ADD. There.
Oh, dude, it was the exact same
side
situation.
Of the coin. You're like, oh shit, there's what's wrong with me.
Here's the roadmap through my problems.
Here's why I'm crying at a paper bag caught in the wind.
Basically, there's like the picture of the girl pouring salt on the front of the Norton's package, and like, oh, That poor girl. That's all she has. She must be poor.
She raised money for so long to buy that salt.
What is yeah.
The dog that's tearing the bikini off of that girl on the sunscreen. You're like, what if that was her last set? Shit.
Well, she didn't know that dog. I hope it left her alone.
I hope it didn't bite her. She might have rabies now.
Oh, God. I hope the owners of that dog know where it is and it's not
her and the salt girl should get together.
Yeah, no, there was like shit like that all the time where it was just like getting me all weepy. And it was because I've been absolutely gorging myself on soybeans.
Wow. That's insane.
It was shocking, to say the least. Because I just never think about that kind of thing, I guess. But I just fell victim to just ignorance. Just like, I'll just keep eating this. I'll never stop. And I'll keep buying Costco-sized tubs of it off of Amazon, and it'll show up at my door, and I have to work very hard to get it.
Yeah, really, anytime you get a container of food where the only container larger than the one you bought is a barrel, you should really rethink your decisions on Amazon.
I've been needing to do that for a while now. But, yeah, so,
wow.
You boys trying to lose some boobs.
Oh, man, that reminds me of, what do they call it at Chipotle? They have, like, the tofu... Sofritas.
I would have not guessed that.
Yeah. I saw a thing on Twitter where some girl was like, just went to the Chipotle and I got the chorizo. Oh, it's so good for being vegetarian. And somebody was like, chorizo is probably the least vegetarian thing you could get.
Oh, no.
It's just ground up sausage. And she's like, no, I got the chorizo. It's vegetarian. And they're like, no, you mean the sofritas. And she's like, pretty sure I meant the chorizo.
Oh,
and they sent her, like, a Wikipedia link, and she was like, well, I guess I'm not fucking vegetarian anymore.
Oh, God.
I know, like, oh, my God.
That's
your situation in reverse, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's a big deal to a lot of folks. Like my Mimi is vegetarian. Well, she's vegetarian, mostly vegan most of the time. But when we first started dating, we went to, what's it called? There's the place towards downtown LA where like LA began and shit, and it's like this big Mexican village sort of thing, and it's fucking great. There's like Mexican food everywhere and stuff, and she really likes these taquitos, and they're bean and cheese taquitos, and we got them, and I'm eating it. I'm like, this is fucking great for a bean and cheese taquito, and she puts it in her mouth, and then she just like, I just watch her let it sit in her mouth, and she's like, it's beef. She like panicked, like she couldn't stop thinking about it all day. Yeah, it was like,
wow.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
I can imagine, dude. You know, like if you really dedicated yourself to that, because like even on keto, which is like easy mode for diets,
yeah.
But even then, like you're like, fuck, that's got bread in it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm gonna feel like shit for 2 days until I get back on the wagon.
Right. Yeah. It's that guilt, especially.
Oh yeah. Well, she's vegetarian for moral reasons, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think that there's a reason to be vegetarian that she isn't.
Yeah,
you know,
I think I asked her one time if she would eat lab-grown meat, and she said yes.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah.
We've been going hog on the Impossible Burger, which I think, we haven't had that with you. We have to try that when you come out here.
Yeah, we have.
Oh, no, we did.
Yeah, at Grindhouse.
Oh, it's fucking great.
Yeah, it is really good.
It's very impressed. I'm very impressed with it. We eat it at Edamame, Edamame, oh my god. Umami Burger in LA, and it's fucking incredible. That's easily the best version of it. And it's like so good that we've had a few moments where we've had to like check with the waiter, like, you sure this isn't meat?
Yeah.
But it's fucking great. Like that. If there's more of that shit out there, it needs to get cheaper so everyone like. Because why would you go to meat if it can taste the exact same?
Right. Yeah. I guess as long as the nutritional value is the same, because some people do need a lot of protein.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to put on a ton of muscle or something. But yeah, mostly. Yeah. If it tastes the same, what the fuck not?
Because it's like when you look, and this is the kind of shit that happens when you date a vegetarian. I was like looking into like,
yeah, please tell me how I'm gonna die early.
Yeah, no, I don't really care about the physical stuff about it so much. It's the environmental stuff when you look at it, which is, I'm dating someone from San Francisco, so of course it's the kind of shit that I'm seeing
right, inundated with every day.
Yeah, but it's like it takes so much more water to feed cattle, to like farm for cattle and chicken and stuff than for anything else. Like it's a huge fucking draw in the environment to feed them, to get all these resources allocated to these creatures that we raise and then just like kill off.
Right.
And it's just sad. Like I just like cows. So it's I can now watch videos of cows like playing with dogs and shit, and I don't feel crap. Oh, that was another thing that made me cry. Like watching happy cows like frolic in a field and stuff. I'm like, they're just sitting behind cages and they love each other.
I'm just gonna use that soundbite out of context too. Oh, that's another thing that made me cry.
I gotta put that in my my bio on Twitter.
Yeah, you should Photoshop that onto your header on YouTube. Your one that just says help.
Yeah. I don't know what I wanted a header and I didn't know what the fuck to put up there because it's supposed to be like the chorus of your channel or something. Like here's what it's all about. But it was just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, so here's the stupidest thing I can think of.
Yeah, good enough. Fuck it.
Might as well make it look like a literal cry for help.
Yeesh. So what have you been up to this week, man? We usually talk about this kind of stuff. Also, let's bring up some shit you brought up last week when I wasn't there to defend myself.
Oh, we have to recap.
Yeah, you beating me up on the trampoline. What the fuck was it? You just gonna bring that up for the whole world to hear about?
Well, it was my fuck up. I'm sorry I beat your ass on a trampoline.
Yeah, yes.
I think we on multiple occasions have gotten each other back for stuff like that over the years. Like where like I have accidentally hurt you and then we got into a real fight and then like I think we're probably about even after a while.
Yeah. I'm not seriously upset about it. I'm just starting.
Yeah. No, I just think about that. Like we've done
there was
that a
lot of shit. We did a bunch of shit to each other. I was telling my girlfriend, Erin, by the way, just so I don't have to keep
I thought you forgot her name for
No. I'm saying like it always feels weird, like my girlfriend, you know. Like,
right.
Her name is Erin from Air Force. You know,
show off.
Erin. Yeah, shit. She's Canadian. You probably haven't met her. But I
did that one time as a kid.
Oh,
like, I dated a girl. She lives somewhere else.
Yeah, she lives in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
You don't know how to fucking pronounce it. You know? But I was telling Aaron about the time. You remember when we were kids? I had a go-kart when we were children.
Oh god.
And we had gotten used to driving it around my backyard. There was like a kind of a circuit you would do where you would come down off the driveway and then like off into the yard, and then there was probably 100 feet and then a sharp right and then another sharp right, and you would go back up to the street. So we would just do the square over and over again. Mm-hmm. And it was me driving mostly just because it was my go-kart. And eventually it was Jamie's turn, and we started up at the top of the driveway, and there's an elevation change of about 15 feet from the top of the driveway to the entrance to the backyard. And so we are just cooking down that fucking driveway. We're probably going as fast as it can go because it's, you know, to be fair, it was the first time you'd ever driven anything with a gas pedal. Yeah, anything at all.
That wasn't a bike. And I've crashed those on multiple occasions.
Yeah. So it was pinned. You had it like pegged like all the way to the metal.
Oh my God.
So we are just screaming off of this fucking driveway. We're probably going like 25 or 30 miles an hour.
Easy.
And we're coming up on the first turn, and I'm going to go ahead and say first and last turn of that trip. Because Jamie, I guess, target fixated and locked, and his hands, I just remember like getting closer and closer and being like, Jamie. His hands are just like, I remember seeing your hands like white knuckle on the steering wheel. And you were absolutely petrified to turn, and so we didn't. What happened was, we hit the tree at 30 miles an hour, and Jamie has a steering wheel in front of his chest that stops him from moving that far, but I did not. I was in the passenger seat, and there was no sort of roll cage or anything. I'm flung about 20 feet out of the fucking car.
Oh my God.
And, like, I roll through some briars and like into this like big ditch into the open area behind my parents' house back then.
Oh my God.
And I remember getting up and walking back to the go-kart, and like I believe you were doing this funny thing that kids do when they know that they fucked up, but they're trying to fake like they don't know what happened.
Right, yeah.
You were just like staring at your hands. Like you couldn't believe that somehow the signal had not gotten from your brain to your hands. It was some sort of mix-up in the wiring.
What the fuck, hands?
Yeah, you were just staring at your hands, and I was like, what happened? And you were like, my hands got stuck in the steering wheel.
Yeah,
and like my
go-kart make any sense.
Why would your hands be in the steering? I was looking at your hands, and I remember just being like, okay, like it's what am I gonna argue with you? You know?
Yeah.
Like, but I remember getting back, and the go-kart is just fucked. It's like the entire the front end is just bent in from that tree. And I think we spent the rest of the afternoon with my dad with like a sledgehammer out in the backyard, just knocking it back into place.
Oh man.
But man, we had a multitude of stories where like each of us were just getting fucking destroyed. The trampoline one was a good one.
Yeah, but like after that, you got me back by swinging a wood golf club directly into my temple.
Yeah. To be fair, the way that you told that sounded like I set up and swung. What happened was you were behind me, and we didn't know a whole lot about backswing. And basically, I was swinging at a golf ball. Because we lived on a golf course. I think he said that in the last video. But we lived on a golf course, so there was always just golf paraphernalia around.
Right.
So
what is this, golf paraphernalia?
Yeah, what the, you're going to jail, motherfucker.
It's illegal here.
This is a felony. But I swung the golf club, and on the backswing, Jamie was behind me. And a driver carries a lot of force through that entire motion. And it hit Jamie dead in the side of the head.
Oh, man.
And we're really lucky that it didn't crack your skull.
Well, no. I mean, yeah, it could have very easily killed me.
Easily killed. I remember the first that you were like, "Uh-oh." Like, that was the first thing that you said. And you held your hands against your head, and you just took off running. Like, I was like, "Are you okay? Oh, my God." And I chased you for a little bit, but you were too fast. It was like the little kid adrenaline just carried your portly frame at about 50 miles an hour back towards your parents' house.
Yeah, I just ran straight home. I didn't stop running. I'm like, I'll escape the pain.
I gotta tell somebody shit. Yeah. Oh my God, we're lucky you didn't have a fucking concussion, dude.
I probably did. I remember going home and going straight to sleep. A good
idea. A really good idea.
He's like, God, just the smartest boy.
I know. Do you remember? You had a lot of head injuries as a child.
Well, it explains a lot.
Does it? I'm crying at commercials all the time now. I think it's Edamame's, but it's probably actually a latent concussion from my early teens.
Why can't I remember physics?
You remember that time? I don't know if you want this out in public, but Jamie used to be a collector of a lot of super cool swords.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I wore fedoras and cargo shorts.
The whole 9 yards. You would wear high white socks, and not to sound like I was some fucking cool kid in comparison.
You were significantly cooler than me, though. To be fair,
I don't know, dude. It was a pretty close race. And you had this huge collection of swords, and I remember you got the first one at a sword show, and that just like really just the whole thing went downhill from there. But you had this super sick like fucking Underworld edition. It was black, and it had bat wings on it, and it had like a red gem on the hilt.
It was so fucking cool.
You were like flipping it around, and you just slashed yourself right in the temple with it.
I just stabbed myself.
You stabbed yourself right in the head.
And it was another thing where I remember falling on the ground and just blood pouring out of my head.
Yeah, it was an extensive amount of blood.
It left a stain for years on the asphalt. It was fucked up. I remember that was one of those things where like things got real. Like I realized I was mortal in that moment.
Yeah,
I just like stared at the ground, like watching all of the blood pour out of my head. Like, well, I don't know what to do now. Like this. Never been prepared.
This far, yeah.
And I locked myself in my bedroom. I don't know why. I guess my instinct was to run away from my problems.
Right.
Which, it speaks volumes about my adulthood.
Well, I'm sure you were embarrassed too. You know, it's like I'm sure your parents told you 1,000 times. I remember your parents telling you 1,000 times to be careful with those fucking swords. Yeah, you're gonna fucking cut yourself, and then here we are, and you're like, no, nothing's wrong. I'm just gonna drip blood all over this fucking pink carpet in my parents' house. I'm sure they'll never figure it out.
And I locked myself in my bedroom, and I was just like, just like sitting in my bedroom. My dad was like, "Son, what happened? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. Leave. I'm fine." And he's like, "I heard you got stabbed in the head." And I'm like, "I'm fine. Leave, you jerk," or whatever.
Yeah.
And my dad kicked the door open like a fucking action movie. Like,
yeah, of course, man.
He broke the what's it called, the molding around the door or whatever.
Yeah.
It was pretty. I remember like seeing it happen and being like, there's a part in my head that was like, that was fucking cool. Like,
so cool. My last thought before I die from blood loss.
Like Tom Cruise. Yeah, my fucking head was I'm just bloody everywhere, and it was fine. Like, I don't know what I thought I was gonna do. Like, I was gonna come outside and we'll be like, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, or like, well, we gotta clean the blood off and make sure you're not going to die soon. But that must have been scary as shit for my folks. It was like,
thinking about it, like, as an adult, could you imagine if you had a kid? First of all, secondly, you got him swords against your own better judgment.
Right.
Third, you've told him 1,000 times at least to be careful with the sword. Fourth, he's cut his head open with the sword, and now he's locked himself in a room.
Yeah.
And he's the worst age to have done it because you were like 14 right in the middle of the whole, fuck off, Dad. You're not, the boss of me. I can do whatever I want. I can swirl my Super 6 sword around in the front yard.
I'm like wearing like a jean jacket and shorts.
Yeah.
They're like fucking soap shoes, and I'm like smacking trees with a sword and screaming like Link.
Cool.
Like, no.
Yeah. Do you remember that
God.
time, speaking of embarrassing shit, we talked about this last time you were in town, but you remember that time you were out in front of your neighbor's house and you were just hitting the ground with, it was the handlebars of a Razor scooter.
I was just over and over like, ting, ting, ting. I was just bored. I had nothing else to do.
That's a thing that, a lot of times I miss being a kid. But that's a situation in which I do not miss being a child. And I have not been that bored in my adult life, and I hope I am never that bored. What seems like the best passage of my time is to tear the top off of a fucking Razor scooter and just hit the earth with it over and over again.
Well, there was the first mission was, I wonder how much force it takes to release this handlebar from the bottom part of the scooter.
Yeah.
And then once I completed that task, I didn't know what to do. But
I didn't think I'd get this far.
It looks like a hammer, so I'm just gonna imagine like this is the Megaton hammer.
The Megaton hammer.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk around and just pang this into the goddamn concrete until a man named Mark comes out of his house that he's renting. And he's like, I thought I moved into a nice neighborhood. I didn't.
Again, though, justified, like, from the adult side, like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm trying to fucking sleep.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was like 10 at night. There's just some kid out in front of my house hitting metal against the fucking pavement. And I'm sure the walls and all the sound deadening in the world is not stopping that fucking... It's like somebody hitting an anvil with a sledgehammer out in front of your house.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was... and he came out. He was just like, dude, stop. And I was like, oh, well, it's like immediately started to like get that lump in the back of my throat.
Yeah,
like,
you've got your face is hot. You're like trying not to cry.
Yeah, like, well, Mark's a jerk. He's a big jerk. I hate.
Didn't
Mark.
he like apologized to you later? Didn't he? Like,
he did
for that like softball. Like, hey, quit! What the hell are you doing? Like.
And I mean, like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
But I hated him from that point on. I remember he was tearing down these like brick pillars in my neighborhood and shit. And I was
that just to give you an idea of how important that was to our childhood, we still talk about that. And he tore those pillars down probably, God, how long ago was that? Like 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago.
It was over that. It was. Yeah. I think it was over. It was a while ago. And I remember he came. After he tore, and I was real mad about them tearing him down. I think my mom was like casually talking to him. She's like, "Yeah, Jamie's all torn up about losing them pillars or something."
Yeah.
Later, he came and he delivered me. He was like, "Hey, man, just to something to remember it by. I got you a brick." And he might as well have stolen my daughter and then mailed me a lock of her hair
or one of her fingers.
Yeah, I was just like, you're fucking malicious. This is evil. That
was a really nice gesture, though.
It was very cool of him to try and like connect with me, and like he was humoring my weird kidism of just like being attached to this weird fucking thing that was just always out front of my house.
Right.
Kids are weird.
Kids are very strange. Me and my sister were talking, because neither of us are planning on having children, much to my mother's fucking dismay.
No.
But we were talking about like when you tell people you don't want to have kids. It's one of two reactions. They're like, oh, okay, I get it. Or like, why the fuck not?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Why not? You're so selfish. Why wouldn't you have children?
Yeah. Oh, God.
But the reaction we came up with is because I don't want to be sleep deprived and broke for the next 18 years.
Yeah.
Raising something that's statistically going to hate me starting at about 12 until upwards of 40, worst case.
It's potentially going to have all the worst parts of me. And like, I don't...
And I'm going to make a mistake raising it, and then that's just going to be permanent damage.
Well, it's funny, because, like, even... It's really interesting, because, like, I had a chaotic childhood and shit, and, like, that gave me a lot of strange hang-ups as an adult, and, it's pretty par for the course. I feel like everyone's got something, But it's crazy, because Mimi had basically the perfect childhood. Like, her parents are... They're wildly in love and incredibly... positive role models. They're great under pressure. They're very logic in their decision making skills and stuff. But there was just no conflict growing up for her.
Right.
So it's been interesting for both of us to like realize like that's kind of a weird thing too. Like it's not just like if there's a problem that will affect the kid in how that problem is handled. It's that if there isn't enough problems, you're not sure how to handle problems as an adult, as well as someone who's like birthed in them. You know what I mean? It's like really interesting to me how there's no way for you to not give that kid something. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No matter which path you take, you're imparting wisdom. You know?
Right.
So it's like, you know, if a kid's raised in an environment where there's a lot of yelling or a lot of stress, or, you know, like maybe the lights aren't going to stay on or anything like that. And, you know, neither of us were in that sort of situation, but, you know, that kid in high stress situations, they're probably more likely to remain calm because that's kind of closer to their normal than somebody who has never experienced anything like that, you know?
Right. Yeah. There's something in me, and it's fucked up, but there's something in me that's like, I kind of need chaos in a weird way. Because I think I was just around it all the fucking time, so my brain kind of feels weird if everything's okay.
Yeah, me and my dad were talking about this not too long ago. We were talking about like because you know you went to behavioral therapy or whatever, psychologist, and we were kind of talking about that, and he was like asking about how I felt about stuff, and I was like, yeah, I'm honestly more comfortable doing things at like a mile a minute than I am with a lot of time to think about stuff. Like in my element is like down to the wire, like it has to be done right now or there's going to be a fucking catastrophe. Like at that point I kind of hit like a stride, and if I've got too much time I'll put it off, and I just won't take it seriously. But it's just weird, like for some reason that's where I'm most comfortable, is like 1,000,000 miles an hour, like pinballing off of shit.
I'm the same way. I'm the same. Yeah. That's for me. That's an ADHD thing. It's been interesting. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts with people who have ADHD, which are very hilarious because they don't ever stay on topic. But
I wonder if that's a symptom of.
But they all talk about that, like how they don't. But and they were saying like there's a certain point where you have to just understand that you don't work unless it's the night before you have to get something done, or even that morning. You know, it's like I can't comprehend doing shit months in advance, but I will get it done pretty efficiently right before it needs to be there.
Right. Well, my problem isn't one of, I guess, not being able to do it. It's one of, I know I can do it in this amount of time. So, like, I guess my problem is, like, I've done it in this amount of time before, so I have all this time to not do it.
Right, yeah.
And that's what I value most in my life, is time where I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, that was my raising, that was my childhood as well, for some reason. Like, I just feel like I'm constantly working towards the moment where I don't have anything to worry about. And I feel like that, as an adult, I'm like in a weird place where I don't feel comfortable doing nothing anymore, but I'm also still like waiting to go home when I'm doing shit. Yeah. So it's I'm never like cool with my situation for whatever reason. It's super weird how that shit works.
Yeah, and I'd imagine you're in one of a few fields where you really had the chance to see the other side of the doing nothing coin. Yeah. That, you know, when you're racing at a mile a minute and you got deadlines to meet and all that kind of shit, it's like, God, I wish I could just do fucking nothing. But then when you have a situation like yours or like summer vacation, you know, by the end you're like, just fucking something to do.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that. I remember before I got a job doing customer service and shit, right before that I was like, I would fucking kill to do anything. I don't care how menial and frustrating it is. I just want to get out of the house and do something. And then
boy, how wrong you were.
Like immediately getting that job, I was like, man, what I miss so bad, just waking up whenever I wanted to and blah, blah, blah. But now I don't really feel comfortable in those. I wish I could just fucking turn my brain off like I used to could. Just like, I don't feel any stress anymore because I'm relaxed doing nothing. I don't have that as an adult for some reason.
Right, yeah. Well, I guess it's part of growing up. You know, like as a child, you kind of have not willful ignorance so much, but you know, you're much more able to turn off your stress, I guess, radar. You know, like you're like, my homework's not done, whatever. You know, because there are no real consequences as a child if your meager responsibilities aren't met. You know, maybe a pet dies or something like that, and obviously that sucks. But it's not, you know, I'm not going hungry if I don't get my little clay model done before art class in fourth period.
Right.
Whereas, you know, as an adult, it's like, shit, rent's coming up. You know, you can't really throw that one on the back burner.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because you're as an adult, the world just doesn't give a shit about your hangups. Like you just gotta figure shit out and stuff. So it's like, it's very strange having to carve your own path and stuff. That's kind of where I've been, where it's like I can't rely. I don't think I can rely on being an actor anymore as a living. So I have to find some way to do something and work towards something. But how do you fucking do that if you've only ever done this one thing
Right.
That's been an interesting journey. I've been thinking about like filming this whole process and kind of like talking to my other actor friends because a lot of
dude.
are similar. Yeah, I kind of want to do a documentary of like rising actors and shit because it's inevitable that some of them are going to take off and do really cool shit, and some of them are going to give up and do something else.
Yeah, and it'd be really cool for the ones who do take off and do really cool shit to have, you know, kind of like a memoir of that time. Or is memoir the right word?
Yeah, yeah. I think I don't know.
Okay, I remember I said memoir about something one time when we were kids, and you were like, memoir? What the fuck are you talking about?
I probably just didn't know what the word was.
Yeah, I still have a hang up about that one. But yeah, it'd be really cool to have kind of like a time capsule of like, oh look, here's before they were famous, you know, like people on 60 and that sort of shit.
Yeah. I think I might do that. Me and Mimi have been talking about that for a while. I might just
you have been talking about that for a long time, and you're really good at editing and shooting and shit. So I mean, shit, you know.
Yeah, I've been debating doing more shit like that. We'll see what happens down the road. But anyway, we're coming up on this is probably one of the longer ones.
Yeah, we're up. Well, mine's up to about an hour and a half, but I was recording when we were talking off mic. So, what are you at? Is about an hour?
1:16.
Okay, yeah, that's about the same.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, friends. You got any final thoughts before we wrap up? What are you into lately?
Yeah, I was about to say we have to do the weekly. What are you into? This week I have been working a lot on my Unreal game project, but in the background I've been watching Super Bunny Hop stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen him.
No, cool name though.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. He does. He did a video on. You never played Metal Gear Solid 2, I think. I think I played Metal Gear Solid 1 in front of you, and you were probably on your phone for a lot of it.
Yeah,
but
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. But Metal Gear Solid 2 is kind of like a postmodern art project, and when it came out, it was critically panned because it starred, you know, Raiden instead of Solid Snake, who everybody was super excited to play as. But he has a really cool video series. It's called Critical Close-Up on Metal Gear Solid 2, and it's talking about how it's deconstructing your expectations for a Metal Gear Solid sequel by essentially creating a story about somebody who's reliving the events of the first Metal Gear Solid. So it's like it's kind of taking, you know, your memories of the first one and transposing it into a game environment to show you, you know, like that this guy is misguided and that his, you know, he has, obviously I'm butchering this, but he has certain expectations on how this is going to go and he's completely wrong about it. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting watching it. I really like critical analysis stuff. I really like critical analysis stuff because it opens up your mind on viewing something from a different angle than how you initially viewed it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been watching a lot of that stuff, like the PetScop investigation. We talked.
I was
about that
just about to say that. Yeah, I really love when people take apart stuff that doesn't necessarily matter in the grand scheme of things, but is still like, you know, like analyzing the hard work somebody put into making shit. Like I love that shit.
Yeah, that's really cool, and it's just interesting seeing stuff from a different perspective, like I said before. Yeah. But yeah, I've been watching that. I'm gonna go get a Smile Direct Club consultation. I think this weekend or next weekend. It's like the It's not even knockoff. It's like cheaper Invisalign, pretty much.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah. Oh, wow. Let me know how that goes. That'll be really interesting.
I'm gonna go up. I think it's next weekend when my girlfriend Erin, knows somebody that works up there, so she's gonna try to hook us up with something. But that'll be cool. Let you know how it goes. But otherwise, I don't think I've got a whole lot going on. Just mostly the game and listening to shit in the background. What about you, man? What have you been into?
I've been watching just like YouTube shit. I've been watching. There's a guy named D4 Darius who does a lot of like film advice videos. I really like his stuff. Lindsay Ellis, who has been blowing up lately, I've been checking her out since last year. She does a lot of very long form like movie analysis things. She has a video about Stephenie Meyer and the whole Twilight fiasco that happened and how maybe it's not the worst thing in the world and everyone needs to get off
chill the fuck out.
Yeah, it's really cool. It kind of like because everyone did kind of jump on that bandwagon of like this is the worst thing ever. Anyone who does this sucks. And it was like, well, maybe this is a dissection. Let's dissect why society felt like it was cool to like shit on something that was made specifically for girls when you see something like Fast and the Furious, nobody thinks that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it's interesting. I like her perspective. She can be a little sassy, but that's I think to her benefit at the same time. But yeah, I like that stuff. I mean, Film Riot. Everyone knows Film Riot, but I've been talking to Ryan on Twitter, which has been really cool. I'm hoping to work with them at some point. I really fucking love those guys.
Well, hey, I have been. I watched something with a Mr. Gus Johnson and an Eddie Burback and a certain famous actor, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah,
the
you had
Adventures in L.A.
A spray bottle. That was pretty funny.
We had no plan. Like that was just like, I don't know, let's just like use shit around the room. Those guys are so fucking creative. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and they don't let anything stop them from making shit. I love that. Like those are easily my like two favorite YouTubers right now.
Friends, huh?
Yeah, they're buddies of mine. They're buddies.
Right.
I fucking love Gus. He's been staying with us when he comes to LA, and that's been like really
yeah. He's
fun.
trying to move out there, isn't he? I don't know if that's public. Is that public?
Yeah, they both are.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both coming out in like May, hopefully
Nice.
sooner. Who knows? That'll be fucking great. And it's all we're waiting on is you, man. Just gotta come out to the Los Angeles.
Dude, I wish if the regulations on old cars weren't so strict, I'd be over there in a fucking second.
Man, that'd be cool as shit.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sick. I couldn't afford to live in fucking Los Angeles, not unless this shit somehow catches a rocket to the moon. Otherwise, I ain't gonna be able to afford this shit.
Somebody quote this later when Chase is out here and we're making buku bucks off of making fart jokes online.
Yeah, please, somebody, please send me this from the future so I can
Please.
keep on living.
Please tell me that I can buy food.
Yeah. But yeah, that'd be, dude. I think about fucking coming to California all the time, man. It's like
That'd be cool
it's all
as
the
shit.
things I like. It's sunny all the time. I can lane split on my motorcycle. It doesn't
man.
rain.
Come on out, man.
Yeah,
The whole world's waiting.
pretty nice. Yeah, the whole world's waiting on bated breath for this fucking asshole from Atlanta, Georgia, to fly on out to California.
Well, thanks for joining us, friends. We appreciate the few of you who do check in. This is a good old time with your friends.
Yeah.
This is
I also want to throw it out there. Is it annoying that we insinuate that we're not super grateful for the people who listen to this? Like, I don't know if it's like pissing people off, like, oh, what? Because we don't have fucking 100,000 subscribers, it's not worth it. It's like a joke. We're not fucking serious.
No, seriously, yeah. If anyone's watching that, you have no idea how like exciting that is. Anytime somebody leaves a comment or like that's genuinely really thrilling.
Yeah, like anytime I get a subscriber, I'm like, oh shit, tight.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like I don't know. I love YouTube. Like the whole idea is fucking crazy. And so if there's like 10 people who like, can you imagine being in a room with like 20 people who just want to listen to you talk for an hour? Like that's fucking cool. Like,
yeah, seriously. I remember even when we had like 30 subscribers, we were talking. It's like, well, shit, that's like a school bus full of people, you know? Like,
yeah, that's a lot of folks.
That's a lot of people.
I don't know if people are actually listening to this all the way through every week. If you are, leave a comment. But yeah, this is. I mean, it's just a fun thing for us to do as friends. But like, there is something really cool about the community aspect of all this stuff.
Yeah, we're definitely thankful for any sort of feedback or following we have from this. I don't want to make it sound like we're ungrateful or something. It's just a joke.
Yeah, no, thanks for saying that. I meant to say something earlier. But,
yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Well, friends, thanks for joining us. We'll see y'all sometime around this time next week when we talk about something even more unsuspectingly serious.
Yeah, it always goes off the rail. It's like, hey, lighthearted. Oh shit, my fucking family. I've got a horrible disease. Anyway,
everything's
catch you guys next week. Yeah, I cut myself in the head and I wrecked a car.
I have big floppy babs and everyone's watching them when I run.
Oh Christ! All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Take care.